Okay. So, anyone having remote like Android device to turn on this? You have? Okay. Please do it for me. So we were discussing about J2EE, and I said J2EE architecture is needed because we need rapid application development and we need to reuse the components, right? Along with that, we discussed the two-tier architecture and its drawback. We also discuss what is there as an what are the extra facilities that we have with J2EE architecture. So that was the discussion last time. Have you started? On it, sir. Okay, students, give me a second here. Few students are there, so I need to turn on the projector, and it's taking a while. यहाँ से कि यहाँ से? आज तो UPS है ना? आज चालू है projector. I doubt. It's a Bapu. Okay, no worries. Yeah, it's on. Land meeting for 2 hours. Okay, fine. Everyone. So quickly we are moving ahead. First bench. You can talk later. Right now, pay your attention here. So I was discussing about two-tier and three-tier architecture. And we discussed that there are few limitations. And because of those limitations, we need to move on to N-tier architecture. Fine. And the major advantage of using N-tier architecture is to have the easy upgradability, scalability, easy maintenance, and rapid application development. This was the major thing which we need in modern application development. And because of that, we are moving towards the J2EE architecture. Fine. Along with that, I discussed that J2EE architecture is having certain features, certain layers, which is fit to small plant to medium scale organization to large organization, because it is supporting the distributed way of developing your applications. Fine. Along with that, we discussed the features. We said it is component based, container provided, highly scalable, and simplified architecture. And you will develop your
Ma'am.
Yes. My voice was lagging. Is it like that, Sunny?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. I forgot that you are also there. Okay. And we have flexible security model also with the J2EE. Apart from that, we discuss the detail architecture, right? We discuss the detail architecture where we are focusing major three layers: presentation layer, what user sees; business layer, which is your application layer; and the final layer is the data layer. Can anyone explain in detail the sub layers? Those who are present in class, those who are online. Anyone? I have few students on class also, like physically present here, and those who are there. Can you explain? So guys, I don't want to do the job of news reader. That's why I have chosen teaching. Otherwise, like, I would have got it, right? Anyways, presentation layer is how you will request to your application. And for that, we require the client side layer. And through client side layer, you can contact to your software either using web browser or any Java application based container. Java application based client side container. And through that, you will request for the dynamic page, which is represented by using the technologies such as Servlet or JSP, or something which is really demanded is bins technology, because Java bins are easier way to develop your software. When you will develop and when you will study all the subjects together, I feel this concept will be more clear when you are knowing the software engineering. And I guess you have not studied it yet. Have you? Have you studied software engineering? That's
No,
right.
ma'am.
Otherwise, you will.
Next semester, ma'am.
Yeah, I came to know that you will study in the next semester. But don't worry, I'll be focusing whenever it is required. The next layer is persistent layer. As I said, persistent layer is responsible to save your object, data object, as an entity inside your relational database management system, right? So we have various technologies such as we have JPA, Hibernate, JMS. We'll study gradually in upcoming chapters about all this. So these were the discussion last time. Along with that, I said container are the interface between lower level operating platform specific component and the component being used in your application. Fine. And we discussed that J2EE containers are used to have transaction state management, lifecycle management, resource pooling, and some complex functionality focus at the lower level. Along with that, we also studied that these are the specific J2EE containers, which are talking about enterprise Java bin container, web container, application client container, and applet container. I said you that applet container we are not going to study because you have already studied it in your previous semester. That's not in your advanced Java syllabus, but these are the listing. Okay, now we are moving to very important part, which is known as web container. Before I move to that, any one of you is aware about any dynamic web technology development? PHP or something? Have you ever worked by your own to develop a website? Which one? JSP you have D2D? You are D2D? Okay, so here I have one D2D. He's saying that he has worked with JSP. Sorry?
You're asking that?
No. I'm asking like, have you ever? Yeah. JSP and Servlet he has learned in his diploma. Fine. What do you think? What is dynamic page? Yeah.
Okay, so like dynamic page is a random page that can we can execute and we can run as our own, and we can like we can do whatever we like. Sorry,
You're Roy, right? Got it. Okay. Okay, so Roy is saying from the language, I got it. So Roy is saying the page which runs dynamically over the server. Basically, the idea is the page which runs over the server, right? Now, when you will develop an application in your system, you are going to make your laptop as a client and as a server. Fine. As well, when I say a machine is on server, we need some software which are specialized, which gives an extra services to your machine to make it or to behave it like a server. Because when I say simple system, your laptop at a time can handle only one request. I don't remember whether it was theory or lab, but one student from your class asked me that what if I want to make 2 clients to communicate to my server program in my laptop? And I said it's not possible because we don't have server set up in our system. So whatever your Java networking programs you have learned, you are specifying the port and you are binding at a time one client to it. But when you will develop a web application for the testing purpose as well, when you are deploying or when you're giving it to a real life system, it's not possible to work with a single client server system. So what you want is, you want an entire setup where multiple user requests can be handled, right? And to do so, we require the software servers. Usually, the software servers which are providing such services regarding maintaining your services, client services, maintaining the life cycle, binding the request, searching for a particular resource demanded by the client are done by the web container. Usually, web container carries the software servers. These are few names taken from the internet. We are going to use majorly two: Apache Tomcat and Glassfish. Apache Tomcat and Glassfish. Next, you need first practical would be, we are going to use that software servers. Okay. So when I say Apache Tomcat, this is the open source software or container which is having the Apache software license. Can anyone tell me what do you mean by open software and what do you mean by proprietary software?
Anyone can use free software. I think you need to purchase license.
Exactly. The one which requires the license is the proprietary. For example, Microsoft Office is a proprietary software. But when I say open source, it means it is available as well. The code of that server is available. Open source is exactly it means like source of that software is available. If you are a very good programmer, you can modify that code because it is open source. Linux is open source operating system. We do not require any license to, like it is coming in the public license, open license, right? As well, whatever code is written, we know that operating system is also software. So there's code behind. That code is freely available and kept open for all the developers, right? And it is developed as a joint efforts of all the developers, right? So such way, your Apache is the open software. Yes, Roy is having one question.
Ma'am, Apache Tomcat and Glassfish and JBoss is the server.
They are web container, or you can say software application server. Software application server, because they're coming in the software way. When you will install NetBeans, you'll have that. You'll have that. Almost, yeah. So so there are few listings given over here. We have Apache, Geronimo, we have Tiny, Java Web Server, we have Vidgo, Wildfire, JBoss, etc. Right? Basically, when I say we have application servers, these application servers are the framework which provides you the facility to develop and deploy both. When I said develop, it means you are writing the code from the scratch. When I'm saying deploy, it means to run it, whatever environment is needed, it is providing that. Soon we will learn that when you are sending a request to a resource, at that time you are requesting two types of resources, web pages, static and dynamic. Fine. Dynamic is the one which requires the programming touch in it. As I given you the example that when you are logged into Marwari portal, you will have your account. And if I am logged in as a faculty, I'll have my account. Fine. Data which is coming inside is different for you and me. As well between your friends, your enrollment number and his enrollment number and password, giving you totally different data because it is dynamic page. So application server creates an environment to run such dynamic applications. Okay. And when we have such, services to be given to a client, we need some comprehensive environment which will maintain the life cycle of any server. And using such web servers, we need to deploy these web servers inside that. Using that, we can go with the application development. Fine. So there are many things which we have to carry forward. For example, when a program or when an application is running, and if so many requests are coming, there's need of load balancing, right? So load balancing as well as maintaining the life cycle, page life cycle, as well dynamic page generation by putting the programming constructs output in it. We are going to work. We are going to give the response to end user. So all these things will be done by your application servers. I have one question here in chat from the online students. Someone is asking, is there any difference between XAMPP that we use in JDBC program? No, exactly not. When you are using XAMPP, I said X stands for any operating system, AMP stands for Apache. That's what we are talking about. That's what we are talking about. I said you, Apache. Yes or no? That's the very first web server which we have listed in our list. Yes or no? Fine. Apache Tomcat. So, yeah. There's no difference, Ashish, when you are installing it through XAMPP, you are not doing the individual installation of software. Instead, you are installing a package which is giving you three things. When you are installing XAMPP, you can go with MySQL, Apache, and PHP. Three software development environment together in a single package. Okay. When you will install, I guess it would have given you. When you have installed NetBeans, it would have asked you, you want to go with the Apache and Glassfish or not? Have you marked it? When you will install, by default, Apache will get installed. For Glassfish, you have to tick the checkbox. Okay. So now when you go to home, you can just check out. Now what you have to do is, you have to create a Java. Let me show you. You have to create a application in Java, which will not be of desktop type. Instead, we'll go with the web application. So when you will going with the web application, it will ask you which software server you want to select. So let me create one project for web application. I'll say file, new project. We'll select the category this time web application. Now onwards, we will work on web applications only. Fine. Select the web application, give next. Say my web app. This is the name. I'm giving next, and you see it is asking me the server. We can choose either Apache Tomcat or Glassfish. With the default installation, it comes with the NetBeans. No need to install it separately. It will be there. It will be there. You can select any one of this. Doesn't make any difference at the beginner level or at the learning point of view. This is giving you difference in the background process, such as load balancing and lifecycle management are being done in a different way. That's why we have so long listing. But as a beginner, you do not have to worry about that. You can go with any of this. Fine. Okay. Give next. And yeah, these are the last three chapters: Spring, JSF, and Hibernate. So for Servlet and JSP, we are going to do nothing with this. But if it is your Hibernate or JSF project, you are going to check the checkbox, whatever is required. But now for upcoming two chapters, we have to do nothing. We just click on the finish, and it will give you entire web, entire directory structure to develop your web application. Can you see this? My web app. See the difference. It's a World Wide Web. We say www. So it's having Earth kind of symbol. So it's a web application. When you have cup and saucer kind of symbol, it's a desktop-based application. Okay. I told you earlier also that when you run any web application, first page is index.html. This is your index.html, which has been given by default. Which has been given by default. Okay. And we can write here inside the body. Suppose I want to go with, suppose I want to ask user to enter some name. So I have to take it to dynamic page. I want to greet user. Okay. So I'm taking user to first.jsp. Let us assume that. I'm taking a text box. How to take a text box? You have already done this. How to take a text box? What I'll write? Input type is equal to?
Okay.
Yes. Input type is equal to? Text, right?
Type equal to text.
Okay, and we have to give name because we want to use it. I'm giving the name txtnm. Okay, now I'm writing br to go to the next line. Okay, and I'm taking another input. I'm taking input type equal to submit. What is submit? Anyone? What is submit button? What it does? There are three types of button: reset, submit, and normal button. What is the difference? Exactly. What's your name? Submit में submit होगा. Don't say that. Computer is a computer. You can't say that. Submit में क्या होगा? Sorry.
बैकएंड में जाएगा जो सेट
Where
किया
it
होगा
will go?
host.jsp.
Exactly. When you have a submit button, it will go. It will take your data to the action mentioned inside a form. So if I have taken a form, you can see in the code I have mentioned form action is equal to first.jsp. So whatever variables I have, which variable I have over here? txtnm is my variable. Do you know that any input control, when you are giving a name, it will be treated as a variable for that input control. So now my input control is text box and name is txtnm. When I'm taking a submit button, and when I'll run this is static page because this is index.html and HTML is always static. So I'm writing value. I'm writing value because I just want to display some message on the button. It has to do nothing with the code. If I'm not writing value, it's fine. It will be given as a label submit. Okay. Now, this is my static page. Okay. In any website, when you go for the first time and you type an URL, this is your first HTTP request. With your first HTTP request, you will have fast HTTP response, whatever you see on your browser. Now, either you will give input or you will simply click on a link, hyperlink or a button or something, right? So that is your second click. Whatever action you perform, if your page is getting reload, it means you are requesting to server and server is giving you response. Is it fine? Okay. Now, what I want to do is, I want that when I'll run this, when I will run this, it will take me to index.html, which is my default page for my website. This is the first web page, static page. Okay. Sunny is asking, do VS Code have such facilities? Sunny, I don't know. I said you earlier only that don't go with the different one because it will be hard for me to go with all the. My major focus is to make you aware about the concepts. IT is just a secondary thing. You should learn your logic. You should learn the programming skills.
Ma'am, you are not properly audible.
Oh my God, I'm shouting. How I'm not audible? How is it now?
Clear, ma'am.
I'm not audible.
Here I have to write enter name, right?
Very low sound.
Okay. So you can see here, this is my static page. Now, when I give the input, if you want to talk, then you can go out and attend the lecture. It disturbs me. I'll give some name. Now my txtnm is carrying the value of this text box. So when I'll click on greet, it has to go to that source. Right now, we have not developed that page. We don't have that page or our server. This is client. This is running in a web browser, right? So this is my client. Can you see this? It says http://localhost:8084. 8084. What does it mean? This is IP address and port number. 8084 is the default port for Apache. It is default port for Apache. When you are creating a project, it will create a folder. We call it as a context. We call it in a web development technology as context. Context means simply a folder where you will have your code. And as I said, there will be many folders. From that, first resource is always index.html. This is your index.html. Now, as we do not have any JSP file developed right now, if I click here, it will go to the server. It will try to find first.jsp, but it is not there. So what will be the situation? What will be the situation? Do you know that HTTP protocol is having various error codes? And from that, 404 is resource not found, right? HTTP status code 404 is resource not found, right? So what we need to do? We need to create that resource first. So let me create that resource first. So this is my web application. When you create it, it will comes with various folders. Web pages will contain all the HTML pages. So if you have HTML pages and CSS, you can put it here, right? You can open this inside the web page, right click, add new, whatever you want to add. You can add, you can go to other, you can select the web category or HTML. You see CSS and HTML, all files you can add from here. Fine. I'm again repeating, I'm not teaching you web designing. I'm teaching you web development. So HTML and CSS you have learned in your workshop. It was given purposefully on our feedback so that you can club it together in this subject. Fine. So that you have to do by your own. I'll teach you input controls, whatever are required, and major part, how to do the coding for generating dynamic page. Now, web page will always contain the static pages. Inside the source package, you can put servlets or JSP, right? Let me go with a very simple one, that is JSP. So I have right click on the source page, and now Ravi Kumar, it is not always 404 error. 404 will come when you don't have that resource on the server. We have not created first.jsp. That's why it was saying that 404 error, page not found or resource not found. Okay?
Ma'am,
Is it
whenever
clear?
we are finding the any error in the server, always sync 404, not
No.
other thing.
Not always. When resource is moved somewhere or your server is down and you are not able to find that page at that time, it gives. Actually, there are so many code. This is 404 error code. There are so many error code for HTTP request. I suggest please refer Tannenbaum, or you can refer the online resources to study such codes. Okay. But believe me, as a developer, you won't require it. This is just a basic understanding, which I have to just point out so that you can relate your network subject with this subject. Okay. Now we're creating a JSP file. I said first, and now I'm clicking on finish. And this will give me, you see, page type and all. This is my JSP file. This is my first.jsp. Okay. Now, to read that, now this is dynamic. You see, when I say hello, this is still static. Nothing is dynamic. But if I want to give dynamic part, I can write the scriptlet. In between, I can write the code. I want to print something. What I want to print is the txt nm. But actually, txt nm is an HTML control. So what I have to do is, first I have to take a string, though I can do in a single line also, but I want them to focus here. What I will write is request dot. This is your HTTP request. Get parameter. Parameter means your variable, right? And you are specifying the name. This is Java code. Okay. And now what I will write is, right? Now this is my JSP page. What is dynamic part? The name being displayed is the dynamic part, because if I'll run and I'll enter my name, it will give me hello Tarannu. If you are running and giving your name, then hello is static. Name is yours. This is what happens with the Gmail. They greet you when you log into your mail or any website where username is being displayed. This is greeting user, functionality known as greeting to the user. Let us run it and let us check out how it works. Can you see this? So this is dynamic file. Okay. Every time, let us suppose from different machine, different user are running this. Right? So based on the input, the output being displayed is changing. So this is called dynamic page. Fine? Is it clear? Any doubt, any query? Yes or no? Clear, everybody?
It's clear, ma'am.
Okay.
Ma'am,
Okay.
ma'am,
Yes.
can you tell once more that a string name equal to request dot what we have to write in?
Don't worry. Don't worry. That's our next chapter. I just want to take you here. That's why I am doing all this. Don't worry. This is, JSP code. And when you are running the JSP code, basically, from index.html, when you are clicking on the submit button through HTTP request, it goes to your next resource. Suppose here I have mentioned the method. Actually, what are the methods to take your data from HTTP, using HTTP protocol from client to server? What are the methods to take the data? This is question from network. I am repeating the question. What are the methods to carry the data from client machine to the server using HTTP protocol?
Get and post.
Exactly. Who's that? Get and post. Only two? Only two? Only get and post. Here it will be either get or post. That's fine. But how many methods are there? 5? Very good. Actually, there are 7, but still you said 5, so it's okay. What are the methods? Someone is just remembering the number 5 and don't know what are the types. Okay, guys, see, I cannot teach you operating system, database, network all together. Otherwise, this will left over. But still, when you post something, this is how I remember. This is how you should remember. When you post something, you will get it. Somebody will get it. So get and post. Right? Get and post. When you put something and somebody don't want, he will delete. Put and delete. Get, post, put, delete. Right? When you have options, you will trace all the options. Option and trace. Option, trace. If you are understanding all this thing, types of HTTP will go in your head. So head. There are 7 methods to remember. Methods of HTTP to carry the data. Get, post, put, delete, option, trace, and head. This you learn in your 4th semester, computer networks. It's fine if you're not remembering. Where I am interested is here in method, either I'll put get or I'll put post. When I'm saying get, what is the difference? This also you have learned in your workshop. Data will be exposed in the URL. Suppose I'm running this. Yeah. Can you see this right now? There's nothing written. It means this is my index.html. Where when I click on greet, this is submit button. So whatever is inside form, if I have taken 10 more input controls, checkbox, 2 more buttons, 1 text area, 1 drop down, a radio button, all the values will be taken to the target. And over here we written action is equal to first.jsp. So first.jsp is my dynamic page. So it will be taken as an variable, value. When I say method equal to post, in the header, that is in URL. In the URL, it will be exposed. You see here. Can you see this? txt_nm is equal to Taru. Right? txt_nm is equal to Taru. Whenever you are sending data from one page to another page, you are always using HTTP GET or POST method in web applications. I'm not saying only two methods. There are 7 methods, but in web application, we majorly focus on 2 methods. And when I say post, at that time, data want to be exposed in the header. What do you think? Which one is better? Head or post? Get or post? Post? Which method is better? Get or post?
Post.
Always? Always?
No, not always.
Not always.
Just
So in this case,
when sending the form data.
okay, when your data is sensitive enough, yeah, exactly. Ashish Pandey is saying when data is not important, then get. And if data is sensitive or secure enough, yeah, Ashish is saying if data is private, then post. When you are doing online banking, when you are sending money transfer, you are giving your ATM PIN number. If you are giving like this, imagine. You can't give private or sensitive information to be exposed, right? Right? What is happening, right now, when you're having index.html and you had a text box, when you said type is equal to get, it means that you are passing the data into the HTTP header, and HTTP header is visible in the URL. But when you say method equal to post, you are passing the data into the payload part of your HTTP protocol. And payload part of HTTP protocol is having inbuilt securities, and that's why it is hidden, right? Though it's not as secure as HTTPS, but somewhat security is there. Fine. So when our data is sensitive, we'll go with post. When data is not sensitive, we'll go with get. Is it clear? Fine. What I'm saying is, this is coming here because your web application server, Tomcat has bind your request, whatever is coming from client, it has searched for which resource it is requesting. When you say here, you are here, and when you are typing, you imagine if this is a real web application, there will be 1,000 or 100 of users. And if this is a website, somebody will request for first.jsp, somebody will request for second.jsp, somebody will request 20.jsp. Depends which functionality. So every time request flow is not fixed. So there should be some entity which is binding all this request to appropriate resource. First.jsp is known as resource. Fine. Is it clear? So that's what your Apache Tomcat is doing. I hope I'm communicating everybody. Those who are online, is it clear? Fine. So that's what we said. When you have application servers, it's a compressive service layer. Fine. And it acts as a set of components which are accessible through some software, to the software developer through some APIs. Fine. Actually, it does the construction of your dynamic page, as we have seen hello and then name. That was the construction of dynamic page as well. It does the background work such as service clustering, failover will be handled, and load balancing and so many other things in a background your application server does. So these are the one which we discussed just before a few minutes. Glassfish, JBoss, Apache Tomcat, Apache Tom EE. These are the two different, Apache Tomcat and Apache EE. We have Apache Tomcat with NetBeans. Fine. As well the Glassfish, as I've shown you, we have Glassfish also. Fine. Now, this is what I was focusing on. I hope you will be able to understand this diagram because we discuss our first application. Actually, this diagram depicts how your web application works. Basically, we are more interested to focus on HTTP protocol. Look at here. This is step number 1. When you are, let us suppose you are accessing to a website. What you will do is through your web browser, you will send a request. How you will send a request? You will type a URL. So you're writing www.something.com. And that something.com will be added HTTP by your web browser. It means that your request is HTTP request. So step number 1 is always web browser request a static page. First request will never be dynamic. It will be always static. Fine. So it will take your request to the web server. Now, web server is the physical location, a machine where all your pages are there, static as well as dynamic. Your application server, that is Apache, Tomcat and all, it will bind your request to specific resource. When you have not typed anything, default request is for index.jsp. Fine. Now, suppose this is not first request. If it is not first request, it means that you already have index.html in your browser. Now you are giving input and clicking on submit. That is your second request. When you are clicking on submit, you are requesting for JSP, first.jsp along with variables. So some input is there. So that input will be taken out from your HTTP server and it will be processed. Everything will be happening at your application server, which is installed in your physical web server. Is it fine? Right? One more interesting fact over here is execution happens at the web server side. Whatever arrows you are seeing are the network links. And network link we communicate through HTTP where we do not carry the code ever. We just give HTTP output, HTML output, text/HTML. We never have code with it. It simply means that whenever I have any web page, and if I'm executing it over the server, and if I'm getting this as a response, this is my HTTP response. If I right click and if I view source, it will be always an HTML page. Can you see this? It is always an HTML page. Fine. Whatsoever complex programming you do, either use JSP or Servlet or Hibernate or .NET or PHP or whatever framework you take, response and request will always be the HTML one. Because your response and request has to be carried over the network using HTTP protocol. And we said that HTTP is text-based protocol. That's what you studied in computer networks. Fine. Is it clear, guys? Those who are online, is it clear? Fine.
Yes.
Okay. So as I said, I'll be little bit quick in this slide because I hope you are knowing this all thing. Most commonly used service over the internet is www, no doubt about that. We are working over it using the HTTP, and don't confuse this with HTML because HTML is for the development and HTTP is to carry that developed code from client to server and server to client. Okay. HTTP is application level protocol. That's why as a programmer in next chapter, we'll be working with the objects which are available in Servlet API. We call it as an HTTP request and HTTP response object. We'll have the methods and using that we will do the coding. Applications and web browsers and web servers understands the HTTP. That's why we are using it. HTTP is connectionless text-based protocol. And that's why your browsers can easily develop, display the output. As I said you in the previous session also, that HTML parser is there with each and every browser. And you see the example. This is parser, which is giving you output, which is something which you can see as a running thing. This is DOM model, data object model. And using that, you display your output. Okay, so every time you send a request, it's a new connection. And that's why you need the session management, which we'll study in upcoming chapter. So this is what happens. Client browser sending HTTP request. We decode it at web server. We search for the file. File will be found and will be given back as an HTTP response. Fine? Fine? This is simple working. URL, which is containing the domain name, right? Which is actually mapping to your IP address. Web browser connect to the web server, sending HTTP request, and web server will receive the request. It will check the desired page. If available, if page exists, then it will send it back. But if not, then it will give 404, page not available, right? Browser will receive it and connection will be closed. Fine. So whatever you were doing with the socket and server socket, now we are doing with the code, HTML and web browser. Fine. Browser then parses the page. As I said you, this is the response which we are receiving. So it's your browser's responsibility to parse the page and to put the elements such as images, text and color. It will reconstruct it over there. And for each element needed, if there is any additional connection, we will make it. Otherwise, browser will finish loading all the images and text, and finally you will have the output. This is how your HTTP protocol works. Okay. So that's it for today. Now we are remaining with one topic in this unit, which we will discuss in the next session. Up till now, we discuss what is web container, what is application server, what are the types of servers available in J2EE. We discuss how your HTTP request and response works with your websites. Sit properly. Right? And we discuss what is the importance of request and response in the terms of coding also. We learned that there are various methods. From that, get and post will be focusing more for the HTTP. Is there any question from your end? Is there any question from your end? Yes or no? Those who are online. Method is saying no doubt. What about others? There are so many students studying online.
No question, ma'am.
Okay, those who are online, I hope you have joined using Marwadi ID, because attendance will be taken automatically from the script. One more thing, next lecture we'll be discussing about web API and remote API, and we'll see overall architecture of the web application. And then we will end the unit and we'll move to the fourth unit, which is very much important. If you are understanding fourth unit, I'm damn sure rest of the units will be easy to understand. So don't miss the next session. Okay. So that's it from my end. Those who are online can leave the meeting.